Jerry Enriquez doesn't give a rat's ass about either politics or religion. Hence the reason he's being effective. Politics is an influencer that comes in the form of a necessary governance structure for the entire society. He believes we have a democratic system of government, always have, unlike the rest of our SICA Central American countries, who are all former dictatorships. Additional features that are unique to Belize, making us different from our Central American neighbors, include our British English speaking ancestral colonization. The logwood and mahogany business was at the root during the formative years of what was then known as British Honduras. The Mayans were already here. Notwithstanding, workers were brought in, some the likes of black Creole slaves from Africa transshipped through Jamaica, together with indentured laborers of Indian descent, and the mestizo, which comprise half the population today, are a given due to Spain's early influence on the territory. So British Honduras now believes would become a melting pot, and the mestizo have been the majority since the 80s, which has to be factored in when trying to win an election. Whereas political structure is necessary to govern the country, the size of the government has become too vast for the small population, and the government has always been heavily influenced by religion, primarily through the education system up to the primary school level, and predominantly so by the Roman Catholics. So it is commonplace to see religion and politics sleeping in the same bed, to the extent that politicians elected to make policy, instead of holding their own, are instead dominated by church influence. They betray the people's trust, and the more so the 1981 Belize Constitution, which states that all citizens have equal rights and that there should be no discrimination, whether in color, creed, culture, status, or gender. So the political structure is there to govern by virtue of majority rule and to garner and keep control of the majority. So they divide the population. The strength of political parties lie in their membership base. The people who are diehard, red or blue. So political parties are not about achieving unity. They are divisive. And sadly so, even when they ascend into office, they often discriminate in favor of their own, instead of hiring the best persons to do the job. Without having their own means, many find themselves trapped in a corrupt system of government where even to get a job, they often have to compromise themselves because of people who get drunk with power, leaders, to where they abuse it to control. Where church and politics connect is that they are both about control over people. Religious organizations selling hope in the hereafter is likened to a dog chasing after its tail. It's purely psychological. It is predicated on fear of dying and going to a so-called hell. Politicians are the ones able to market and deliver hope realistically. For hope is tangible. Hope of owning a home by age 30, hope of a robust economy, good infrastructure, safety and security are things well within the reach. So how do you counter your way through the religious and political influences in your life? To begin with, recognize that you are born spiritual. Whatever is not physical about you is spiritual because you comprise both natures, a physical body and mind, and a spirit being you are at the core, who only became life when God breathed life into you. God, as spirit being, is neither political nor religious. God is one over the 5% created universe, the only place where transactions are made, as well as the rest of 95% total existence, God is Father to the entire 8.3 billion world population, for they are all God breathed. God is impartial, one who does not discriminate, and the universe is one energy. So individuals can only claim to have their own body and mind, not their own life. For life is a shared commodity, shared with all other living creatures and things. Notwithstanding, you are born spiritual. The more identification badges you wear and adopt, the more you continue to drift away from your spirit core. Because, for example, when you say, these are my people and family, identifying with them only, you are saying that the other people in the world are not. You are discriminating. You are also discriminating whenever you say, I like this, but I don't like that. For God created all good, only good. God, good versus evil are religious schemes that are opportunistic, used to discriminate with a view to destroy and condemn in the name of God, abusing the name of God. No one was born with so-called purpose. It is swell-headed to say God knows you by name. In total existence, the solar system is but a speck. Within that speck, planet Earth is but a microspeck, and within that microspeck, Central America and the Caribbean are but a super microspeck. So you calling yourself a big man or woman instead of being enlightened, you have become too full of yourself and need to be reminded that the body and mind that house you, in which you are deeply invested, will return to the dust someday, after about 70 years roughly, where it will no longer be distinguishable from good manure. For you came with nothing, came from nothing, and will return to nothing. All you have, my friend, is your existential reality, known as life. Yeah, your 10 materially, and you will live in perpetuity in the spirit realm. Life eternal in the here and now, and in the hereafter to come. In both realms you are at this time. As a spirit being, you are forever and ever a spirit, now and then. Here you are able to consciously, in this realm, physical, make choices. However, once you die, once a person dies, she can no longer make choices, no longer discriminate. The only memory a dead person carries is the last, whether she died willingly, peacefully, and joyfully, or otherwise. So to return to your spirit core, you need to stop discriminating, like Jerry Enriquez, by trading in your ID badges for one universal identity. No longer be governed through your body and mind, and become governed once again through your spirit. Because you were born spiritual, and instead of praying as if though you are God's advisor, prayer being good for, adoration, supplication, I say no, I say yes to that, I agree. But it is purely growth in expression. That is all. You don't you grow in expression. What good is that? You need to grow in perception. You can't know anything unless you are able to perceive it. And the way the way to grow in perception is to sit quietly in meditation. Meditation is not an act, but a way of being. Therefore, consecrate yourself by establishing an altar within yourself wherein you remain meditative 24/7. So, with your power limited and the supernatural power we know as grace, the grace of the divine, you become invincible, indestructible, and able to grow and expand without limit. For everything governed by and within the physical realm comes with limitations, boundaries, and goes around in cycles. It is only in the spirit realm that there is boundlessness and freedom of any and all types of discrimination. For God is one who is impartial, and the universe is one energy. That will be all.